Welcome all to the Final Shape Reveal Showcase Recap. We are a mere 6 months away from the Final Shape, launching on February 27th, 2024, assuming that, there's no delays. Let's start with the campaign. We'll be going inside of the Traveler, the area known as the Pale Heart. We'll be following in the Witness from the events of Lightfall. We get a nice glimpse of the D1 Tower and some of these initial shots, among other areas and destinations that we've seen along our journey, although with that, how do I say this? We're literally in the Traveler type vibe to these areas. The Witness has had a lot of time to prepare for our arrival, and thus has prepared a bit of a fortress that we'll be making our way towards during the campaign. And as we progress towards the Witness, things are going to get weirder, more mysterious. Again, we're literally in the Traveler vibes. Bungie also distinctly declares that the Witness will be the raid boss of the Final Shape raid, of which it kind of looks like we'll be assaulting his monolith, but that you also don't need to do the raid in order to get the full story. Cade is returning, as was revealed in the Final Shape teaser that launched a few months ago, although pretty much all of the how and why questions you may have will be answered during the campaign. The Pale Heart will be the first linear destination featured in Destiny. Most, if not all, Destiny destinations are sort of a triangle or a circle shape with spokes branching out into other areas. This time, it seems like we're going to start in one area, we're going to see the Witness's monolith off in the distance, and off we'll go, straight towards it. Although once the campaign is beaten, it seems like we'll be able to go wherever we want. A lot of people suspected we were getting a third Darkness subclass, and that does not appear to be the case. Instead, we'll be getting more light subclass supers, which does make a lot of sense given that we're going inside the Traveler, and the Traveler's all about light. Warlocks will see the return of Radiance, or whatever they're going to call it, although considerably more souped up than its D1 version, beefed up melee and grenade effects, along with buffing your teammates. Solar Warlock will get a new aspect that is essentially Solar Soul, like Arc Soul, Void Soul, you get it. Titans will see a new Void super called the Twilight Arsenal, where you summon multiple Void axes that you throw at targets, which then gathers up all of those targets and then explodes. Not only that, but you and or your teammates can then pick up the axe for some amount of time to use it as a weapon. The new aspect is also for Void, where you consume your grenade to make a shield and then dish back out all the damage it absorbed while active. Hunters are getting a new Arc super where you throw a knife at a target and then instantly teleport to the knife, doing a big AoE around you. This can be triggered up to 3 times in a single super. The Arc aspect they'll be getting will launch them into the air and provide amplified to, I think, everyone nearby, although I don't know if that's all of what it does or just part of it. We have a new enemy type in the Subjugator. While the Tormentor was much more of a frontline, in-your-face kind of enemy, the Subjugator hangs out in the back, slinging stasis and strand spells at you. We have some returning D1 exotics. Dragon's Breath, Kvostov is getting an exotic variant, and believe it or not, Red Death is coming back, unexpected. There were also some teases for new exotics coming, like apparently a gun that may emulate the giant beam of light the Traveler shot during the Lightfall cutscene, according to the commentary anyway. There is another pre-order weapon, a fusion rifle, that will allow for the use of stasis and or strand in the energy slot. This is a first-time thing for those elements, so you'll now be able to have a full loadout of those particular elements. You can also consume a grenade to put into the weapon to fire a big single-shot attack. In terms of some more gameplay-related things, Bungie's introducing the support frame weapon, where you are going to be able to swap between damaging an enemy and shooting a teammate to heal them pretty seamlessly. I'm not sure if this is just auto rifle only for now, or what's up with that. Bungie also takes some time to delve more into their in-game LFG system, showing off the potential UI. This is still a work in progress, different labels that you can choose from, activities, and a whole lot more. This is coming in Season 23. Speaking of finding a group, Crota's End is the reprised raid from D1 coming on September 1st. Apparently there were talks during the post-show Q&A about beefing up the contest mode experience a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Hi, this is a Stick Up, and I'm here to talk to you about today's sponsor, Manscaped, and the Handyman Compact Face Shaver. Do you go out a lot? I'm joking, of course you don't. But if you did, the Handyman would be the perfect razor for you, although it's not illegal to use at home. Try it out, the police will not show up. It's got skin-safe technology to reduce nicks and cuts while you're shaving. It's waterproof, so cleanup is super, super easy, and it's nice and small, something that I think a lot of us are used to. Right, guys? Right, guys? That makes it really easy to pack in that suitcase that you're definitely going to be using really, really soon. Now, if you use code Datto over at manscaped.com/Datto, I'm getting you 20% off. I'm getting you free shipping, so you can use all the money that you just saved on a trip that you're definitely not gonna probably take. Let's be real, you're gonna stay at home. Upgrade your grooming routine today with the Handyman from Manscaped. Thanks to Manscaped for giving me all this sponsoring the video. One of the bigger features of Final Shape is Fire Team Power. Bungie is expanding upon the whole no level cap increase situation that we have found ourselves in during Season 21 and now 22. Bungie is trying to reduce as many barriers between friends as possible who want to play the game together, so they're doing a couple of things. Number one, many activities going into the future are going to have fixed power levels, where you are X amount of levels underneath regardless of your power level. Number two, for the activities that do have power enabled, Nightfalls, raids, more endgame content, Fire Team Power will be in play. Fire Team Power takes the power level of the highest person in the team and applies it to everyone else in the team minus a few levels. So if I want to play with some of my friends who haven't played in a while, they're not going to need to grind out levels in a new expansion or anything like that. I will simply drag them up to within 5 levels of my level, and we can just carry on. Bungie talks about what Season 22 is like in the showcase as well. It does look pretty interesting, but we'll talk about all that pretty soon in another video, as it's available right now to play. Finally, what I've been the most interested in, what comes after Final Shape? We know that this final confrontation with the Witness is coming, but we have no idea at all what the game will do after this, until now. Bungie will not be doing the seasonal model that we know today after Final Shape. Not exactly, anyway. After Final Shape, Bungie will have 3 content drops known as episodes, each with 3 acts each, 1 act every 6 weeks. The goal of these episodes is to tell some stories after the events of the Final Shape, but they aren't technically a continuous story like we have now with seasons, or at least it doesn't seem like they will be. Each one will be its own self-contained thing that you could end up playing in any order, it seems like. The goal is to have more content more frequently and try to do some new things in the storytelling world, or even the gameplay world, that they couldn't do before this moment. One example was apparently we're going to have more cutscene or cinematic type content in these episodes. We'll see how that holds up. That was pretty much the whole showcase. Again, we had some Season 22 stuff in there, but we'll tackle that in the videos that I'm going to do this week. I really just want to focus on Final Shape specifically. So, thoughts? Well, Bungie really seems focused on making sure that the expansion is really focused in on this finale event with the Witness. No super big new crazy features or anything like that, at least nothing that they've said in the showcase. Just Bungie pointing at the Witness and saying, go get him. Go get the Witness. Joe Blackburn, game director, reiterated this point during the post-show Q&A. It's not like other campaigns where you go do a mission and then you can kind of mess around a little bit. It's just mission, mission, mission. Like, you have one job. It's go deal with the Witness. That's it. And I can respect that, especially after Lightfall's campaign. Bungie should be focused as much as they can on delivering a satisfying conclusion to this saga. So I hope that they can deliver that. Some of y'all probably know that I love the idea of the Witness being a raid boss. I am incredibly happy about that. so I am hoping Bungie is able to provide a satisfying campaign ending for the people who aren't raiders. You gotta think that they have something to make sure that non-raiders have a good ending too. They did also address this in the post-show Q&A, so I guess we'll see what it ends up being. That being said, I think killing big baddies in the Legendary campaign over the past 2 campaigns has been pretty satisfying, although Savathun much more than Callus, since that fight was just superior to Callus in my opinion. It felt really lame in previous campaigns to just stomp on the final boss, especially in a fire team. It never felt satisfying as a conclusion until Witch Queen, because bosses just never felt like a threat. They never felt like a challenge. Joe also brought up the fact that they didn't want a boss like Valk'Or from Spire of Stars to be considered the toughest boss or boss experience in the game over the Witness, which as a player and raider, I very much appreciate. They want the Witness to be the biggest bad, which is great. Just make sure that the non-raiders get some love too. Cayde being back is pretty fun. This whole expansion does seem like it's going to be hitting a lot of nostalgia moments for a lot of people, which I think is okay as long as it's not completely overdone. But we're at the end of a 10-year journey, so there was definitely going to be some nostalgia bait in there, which is okay. I still think Cayde is only alive for the campaign, maybe any sort of post-campaign stuff inside of the Traveler, but I don't think he's going to be rejoining the Vanguard or anything like that. Call it nostalgia bait if you want, but if we get some variant of D1 Cayde back for a little bit as a send-off, I'm cool with that. It's a conclusion as much as it can be a celebration as well. Now, if Cayde is just back permanently or whatever, then I'm going to have some more questions if the game doesn't do a really good job of justifying it. I know I've said that just bringing Cayde back like nothing happened would cheapen his death, and while I'm teetering on that feeling right now, I think I'll find a landing spot after the expansion. No new subclass. I know a lot of leaks and spoilers were coming out about, oh, there's a leaked icon of a thing that looks like a new super blah blah, which I don't usually cover. I think because I was expecting a new subclass because of those little leaks and stuff, and I got something that I wasn't expecting, that some of the disappointment of not getting a new subclass didn't really hit me as hard as it maybe did others. You know, it would have been cool to get a new subclass, don't get me wrong, but I think what we're getting is still pretty cool too, especially if you're a Titan, you know what I'm saying? I guess that's not to say that there couldn't be a new subclass, but that is also something that Bungie has never historically hid from marketing. Instead, we got new, or in the Warlock's case, returning light supers, which I was not expecting, although it makes total sense. I think the Titan super is the coolest. Being able to throw the axe, suck up a bunch of enemies, and then make them volatile. Nice little one-off super. But then also being able to roam with the axe is a nice touch, especially since your teammates can pick one up too. Void is typically a subclass you associate with defense when it comes to Titans, so them getting something more offensively focused is pretty dope. The Hunter super, the whole throwing knife teleport AoE attack, is pretty awesome Hunter flavor. It definitely fits the Hunter quite nicely, and I also suspect has the potential to be an absolute menace in PvP, as if Hunters needed more of that. Being able to cast it 3 times is nice. I think if it was a true one and done, it would not have been nearly as enticing, especially since we just got Gathering Storm. Warlocks, I'm anticipating some division on what is essentially Radiance from D1 coming back. I think D1 Nostalgia Lords have something going on in their pants. Then I think we have some people being upset that they aren't getting something brand new like Hunters and Titans, and I totally get that. For what it's worth, it does seem like a nice, supporty, more offensive option versus just running Well of Radiance all the time. But I can understand if people see Titans with a new toy and are kind of wanting that experience too. In-game LFG is not a final shape feature, but it's still a feature that I hope works out for the best in the game. I'm sure I will give it a spin once it comes out, try to speak on what works, what doesn't, but until that's actually in the game and we can really give it a go, I don't think I have a whole lot to say on it at the moment other than neat, cool. Glad it's finally here. Fireteam power. I think one question is going to get asked here. And that is, why are we getting rid of only some parts of leveling and just not all of it? And I think that question relates to some feedback that I gave in my closing thoughts video on season 21. It turns out that having that number go up grind for some people is maybe more important than they realized. I think most people are also okay with having a power increase once per year versus every 3 months. Bungie is really harping on the idea of making sure that if people want to get back into the game, that there isn't going to be a massive power grind waiting for them if they want to play with their friends. That's the ultimate goal. Keep the game open for people who want to come back, reduce barriers as much as they reasonably can, and I get it. I respect that. Now, it doesn't seem like artifact power levels are going to be going anywhere. There was no mention of those, which I think is mostly fine. I don't have a huge issue with artifact levels, not at the moment anyway. Then we have what comes next, the thing that I am the most interested in. What is next for Destiny? The vibe I get from these episodes that they're calling them is that they're going to be the epilogue to the main story. We're going to experience these 3 episodes, so probably meeting up with 3 different groups or NPCs or whoever, and we're going to learn how they were affected by everything that happened with the events of the final shape and what's next for them, or maybe what's next for us. They aren't going to chain together like seasons have been doing. They're going to be their own stories, and then they're going to be done.
Or actually playable as standalone. Like each episode is something you can experience, whether you've been playing Destiny for 10 years or this is your first one.
You're going to be able to basically enjoy them in any order you want to.
Now, this is something that, while this main story was going on, I did not like. Because it always felt like we had more important things to tackle in the story. We don't need the beach episode right now. The witness is literally out here witnessing things, okay? Like, let's get to that. But in a post-Final Shape world, with, I assume, the big bad guy being defeated in some kind of way. Spoilers, we probably win against the witness. But win or lose, there is going to be something that happens after that. Bungie is going to need time to build up whatever the next big bad or big story event is going to be. Now, whether or not they want to restart this process and go on another 5 to 10 year story arc or do, shorter story arcs, something like that, 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, I don't know. I imagine Bungie is only just getting started on whatever the content of the 2025 expansion is going to be, if there even is one. Who's to say that they don't keep up this episode stuff for longer than the 3 that we're going to get? I don't know. I could see them switching permanently to this episode model, but I think it'll depend on what direction they end up going in with regards to the new main story, if we even get a new main story. I do think going down to 3 episodes is probably for the best. I was envisioning some kind of a cutting back on how many seasons were in a year, but also Bungie needs to show that Destiny is still continuing in a very meaningful way. This doesn't seem like it's going to be the Final Shape after party and then they're done. This isn't Bungie winding things down to fade into the sunset. Destiny is still going on, and the way things are being worded, Bungie wants to bring even more content to people, and I thought Season 21 had a pretty good amount of things going on. Seems like Bungie trying to do a lot out here to tell people that they are not done. Not even close. Just getting started, really. And I'm interested to see how that all plays out. They really seem to want to deliver a lot of content. So we just kind of got to wait until Final Shape before passing more judgment. This is a lot of talk, a lot of graphics and all that, but need to wait to see how this new thing turns out. I think that's all I have to say on the showcase and the Final Shape specific contents within. I am excited for the finale. Bungie doesn't seem like they're trying to impress with crazy new features, anything like that. They just seem focused on trying to make sure people have a good finale campaign experience. So here's hoping it's a good finale experience. I'm still very interested in what's going to happen afterwards, the stories that are going to be told, what a 2025 expansion would look like, the content that's going to be delivered in these future episodes and releases, and how the game will continue to persist and evolve. It did feel like they kept a bit of stuff close to the chest, though, but like Joe said, this showcase was going to be the biggest of big picture stuff. I'm sure they're going to discuss more specific details for the more devoted crowd like you and me over the coming months. So if you felt like there's still more to come, maybe more to be revealed, I think there is too. But, overall, I'm just excited to cap things off. I'm excited for the Final Shape raid experience, the campaign experience. I assume the Legendary campaign is sticking around. It would be a shame if it's not. I'm excited to see what's next with these episodes and this format, this content format. I'm feeling good. I feel good. I'm very eager to play. I'm very eager to play the new season, so I'm going to wrap it up right here, too. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in Season 22.